Welcome back, guys. So today we are going to look at imperialism in Africa. We talked about British imperialism in India. We talked about the European motives and why they wanted to go into Africa. Today we're going to look at, we're actually going to start, we're going to look at it. But we're going to start with pre-imperialism. So Africa pre-imperialism. So pre-imperialism, all right, you have Africa. All right, you have Africa, and it's all split up. And it's split up all on their own, kind of. It's all split up, not governmentally, but there are hundreds of tribes. So there's hundreds of tribes within Africa. And these tribes are all split and divided up based mostly on language, because each tribe has come up with their own kind of dialect and culture and social culture, how they live their lives. So those tribes with similar languages and similar cultures tended to live together and tended to not feud with one another. And the feuding and the fighting between these tribes didn't really exist because each tribe knew kind of where their space was and not to move much beyond that. And pre-imperialism, Europe was not looking, they did not want to go into Africa. Wow, that was poorly drawn. They did not want to go into Africa for fear of diseases that they were not immune to. So disease and the African tribal armies were not afraid to fight in armed conflict. So even though the European countries may have had better armies and better militaries and better access to weapons, they still did not want to continue to get into these conflicts. All right, and so something changes. Something changes. And so we're going to look at why. Why, and I'm doing this in a different color, and you don't have to. It just helps organize my thoughts. But why? Why does this right here, this fear, suddenly change? And it's because time changes. Europe is right smack dab in the middle of a revolution. Not an armed revolution, but a way of life revolution. And that is the Industrial Revolution. So right in the middle of the Industrial Revolution, right? And so because they are in the Industrial Revolution, they need, in order for their factories to stay running, they need natural resources. They need things that they can build out of. So they need the wood from trees. They need cotton. They need rubber, which I don't really know how to draw other than a tire. They need rubber. They need gold. And so they need natural resources. And Africa tends to have plenty of natural resources, especially then. And so they take these natural resources and they turn them into things. They take them and turn them into things. My go-to example of the natural resource is a pencil because the rubber makes the eraser. The pencil itself is out of wood. The granite makes the lead. Or shirts. Shirts. I mean, even weapons are an example of finished goods that are grown. So these turn into finished goods. And the Europeans are able to take those finished goods and sell them. And so this is making European countries lots and lots and lots of money. And then so this is reason number one. Reason number two is that the African continent is dominated by the Muslim faith. They're dominated by Islam. And so the Europeans want to convert the Islamic people into and get them to believe in Christianity. And the reason being that if there's anything that people will fight over, it is religion. And so in the event that a religious war were to break out, the Europeans wanted to have already converted people from Islam to Christianity so they would fight alongside them. So these are your two major reasons. Obviously, we discussed yesterday there are more than this, but these are the two major initial reasons why you see Europeans decide to go into Africa. Especially changing their thought process from pre-imperialism, where they were afraid to go into Africa because they didn't want to fight and they didn't want to obtain diseases that they were not immune to. And so now, what ends up happening, we're going to look at the then. So what happens after that? Well, then in about the 1860s, all right, in 1860, a man from Scotland, a missionary actually from Scotland, by the name of David Livingstone. David Livingstone travels to Africa. He travels to Africa essentially on a mission trip. And he travels to Africa, again, looking to do this converting. And never returns to Scotland. He never returns. He never comes back. And the belief is that Mr. Livingstone dies. Well, later on, another man, this time from Belgium, well, a couple years passed, and then a man from Belgium, I'm trying to find space so y'all can still see. A Belgian man named Henry Stanley finds Mr. Livingstone. And he finds Mr. Livingstone, and his finding of Mr. Livingstone and seeing that Mr. Livingstone decided to stay on his own, remain in Africa, leads him to go further. This leads him further into the African country where Mr. Livingstone was found, which is the Congo. And as he goes into the Congo, he finds that the Congo has a large supply of rubber, a natural resource. And so, because of this obviously gets back to the King of Belgium, King Leopold. And King Leopold of Belgium, King Leopold has an idea. That was a poorly drawn lightning, but you get it. He has an idea. And that idea leads him, he writes a treaty. And through these treaties takes control Through these treaties, he takes control of the Congo. These treaties give him control in the Congo and allow him to, what ends up happening is, a lot of these people in the Congo end up dying. People end up dying because King Leopold, through these treaties, takes control there and takes advantage of the people in the Congo, all because they are working for the rubber. They want the rubber because that rubber would lead to money. And that money would get back to King Leopold, making him richer. So this is actually where we're going to stop, because King Leopold's endeavors in the Congo and the Belgium control and increase in money due to the rubber trade in the Congo lead to more European imperialism in Africa and what becomes known as the scramble for Africa, because it becomes a race by all of these countries to get there and claim lands with natural resources. But we're going to stop here for today. You guys have an assignment on Canvas. If you are struggling with that assignment, please reach out to me, let me know, ask me any questions that you have. And as always, you go on and have yourself a great day.